guys. So we had some technical issues at the beginning of this podcast and didn't realize it till about a quarter of the way through. So our guest, Scooby, his camera wasn't working. So you're going to be seeing back and forth between me and him, and then he'll eventually pop in. So we're sorry about the technical difficulties. We're working on it, and hopefully next video we won't have any. Thanks for watching.
Right? So men aren't trash. Women aren't trash.
We all are trash.
We equally do the fucking trash.
We all are trash.
All right, and we're back with the Happy Hour podcast. I'm Cousin P with Megan.
Hi. Punk.
In the place to be. I want to say C because that rhymes. Now you fucked up my whole intro, Megan.
That's why you got all grumpy when you said that.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
I've been rehearsing this all day long.
Just looking in the mirror.
But anyways, yes, we're in the place to be, and we have guests. Oh, God. We got Scooby.
Hi,
Say
Scooby.
what's up.
How's it going?
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had to, so today we are talking about modern dating, and we felt it was necessary to bring another guest on because, we have three different perspectives here at the table, right, which is kind of unique. So I'm married, and I met my wife back in high school, and we've been together for going on 7 years. So really, I haven't been, exposed to the modern dating scene, right?
Like at all. Like none.
Yeah.
You didn't get to suffer at all. Lucky you.
I didn't have to.
Yeah, what the fuck ever.
And then you, Megan, you've got into a new relationship,
Yeah.
so you have experienced the modern dating scene.
A lot of it.
And you've succeeded, right? You're one
Eventually,
of the winners.
yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And then we have Scooby, who's still experiencing the modern dating scene. He's out
still
there.
in the wasteland.
He's still fishing.
Yeah, I like that. I like that term for it, the wasteland.
Yeah.
It's pretty accurate.
Yeah, but before we hop in, there was a couple things I wanted to talk about with the last episode. So I did a post on Instagram. Some of you saw it, where I put up all 4 of our dream concerts, and we have a winner. We definitely have a loser. So we have Roger coming in at 71%.
I mean, that doesn't surprise me because you have the Bay Area people on there, Mac Dre and Selena.
I don't think
who was the other person?
That. So he had Tupac, Mac Dre, Selena.
Oh, that's right. Well, I mean, obviously with Tupac,
he had
people
J.
are going to want to
Cole
see him.
and Kendrick. Right, I mean that's a poppin' concert.
That's true. I don't think J.
Yeah.
Cole was on the poll though, because you only did 4 of the 5 artists on the list.
I only did 4 of the 5 because I couldn't fit all 5 of mine, so everyone just got 4.
Not my fault. You picked people with long ass names. Because if you would have put J. Cole on there, I probably would have got more.
Everyone got 4, but it's still. I mean, I think regardless of where we were doing the voting from, I mean, we could have been in Illinois, and people still would have voted for Rogers. 'Cause even after he said his, I was swinged that way. I was like, oh man, my concert kind of sucks. Right, so Megan came in second with 22%, which is still strong.
Yeah.
Right, with your crazy ass lineup with going from
roller coaster of
Sabrina
emotions.
to Cardi B to Adele, putting us through
and
all type
Prince
of moves.
to end it.
Yeah, that was. See, I think Prince was like the and Bruno. I think Prince and Bruno together. I think people want to see that.
Do you want to know? Okay, so I forgot to say this last week when I was talking about Prince, but I want to bring this story up because I think it's a really cool story. So, my dad went to the Rolling Stones. I believe it was the Rolling Stones concert. Mm-hmm. Don't 100% quote me on that, but he went to his concert, and Prince actually opened up. And this was before he was famous. This was before he was popular and all that kind of stuff. And he got on, started singing, and people started shooing him. Literally took off their shoe and threw it at him.
Yeah.
And my dad, he said he didn't participate, but he was like, he's just never fucking seen.
Of course
that's what he says. He's like, he's never seen something like that before, and I've never heard of something like that before. So I thought that was crazy, just because of his stardom and his fame.
Yeah, but that doesn't surprise me because there's a lot of musicians before they became who they are.
Mm-hmm.
Who they are now to everybody. They had to go through some hardships.
Start somewhere.
Lady Gaga had, she had to do a lot of things to grab attention, even just to get people to listen to her. And I think she's a great, musician. And there's a lot of other stories, but, that doesn't surprise me at all. Now, who came in number 3 was Jody. Jody came in at 7%. So if you're good at math, Roger had 71, Megan had 22%, and Jody had 7%. And that leaves me at last with 0%. I did not get not one vote.
No one
Jeez.
voted.
No one
No
voted
one
for
voted
mine.
for your lineup.
Nope. No
Are
one
you
wants to see
serious?
the internet. No one wants to see Frank Ocean or Mac Miller. I didn't even vote for mine. You know,
I voted for mine. I was like, I want to win. The fuck, my lineup's the best.
I didn't even vote for mine. Like I said, like after Roger said his, like I just swung that way. So it was like,
Oh, I'm sorry.
hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. But before we go any deeper, I wanted to go ahead and shout out the food. Actually, Megan wanted to shout out the food.
Yes,
for us
I want to do that today. So we're having lumpia from one of my friends. She has her own business called Mixed Fixins. We'll post the info somewhere in this video. But it's so good. I love it.
Yeah. I mean, it looks good.
I totally just
can't-
lost my train of thought.
I can't wait to dip it. I can't wait to dip it. It's a mixture of shrimp and chicken, right?
Yes,
So
sorry,
it's
yes.
not just one meat.
No, so she has a bunch of options and stuff. The ones we have today is shrimp and chicken, and honestly, it's my favorite version of it. And they're bigger than normal lumpia, so that makes me happy because
Yeah.
I can eat a lot of it. So
Yeah, lumpia is bomb.
it's so good. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, let's go ahead and get into the discussion here. Now, I did have one question, and this particularly for you, Scooby. What is modern dating like? What is it like in today?
I mean,
Like you said earlier.
like exactly like I said earlier, it's a wasteland out there, man. It's quick. It's
What do you mean by quick?
it's always going. You know what I mean?
What do
It's
you-
always moving. You got to stay on top of it. So, I guess the best description, the best example I can give you for quick is like, what have you done for me lately? Remember what Eddie Murphy said in Raw? What have you done for me lately? That's pretty much what dating is like now. It's like if you don't hold my attention, in that first little 5 minutes, less than that sometimes. It'd be 2 to 5 minutes if you're not grabbing my attention.
It's almost like permanent speed dating.
Exactly,
almost. Yeah.
exactly. If you don't hold my attention, then on to the next one, because everybody has that mindset that there's plenty of options out there. You know what I'm saying?
They're not always good options, though.
No.
Let's just be clear, guys.
And you
Grass is not always greener on the other side.
Hey, that's coming from Megan. That's coming from a woman too.
It's not.
Yeah.
Anyways.
No, that's true. I mean, like I feel like, and this is just what I've been told, and I have friends who've dated in modern society. You're not the only one, but I've had friends. And what a lot of people tell me is that there's a lot of entitlement almost in modern dating.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Where no matter how long you two have been going at it, or dating, there's almost, even from day one, there's like this expectation that you have to meet all their needs.
Oh yeah.
And not only do you have to meet all their needs from day one without them communicating to you what their needs are, because you have to be a mind reader.
You just know.
too. You have to know these things. If you don't know these things, then you're already fucked up. And
Oh, yeah.
the date's over, right? But you have to do it from the get go, and then you have to do it constantly, and it's almost like this thing where it's like because they deserve it, or they feel as if they deserve. Is that somewhat speak to your experience
and,
at all?
And at the same time, it's like a 24/7 guessing game, because you're like the other person is never gonna say, hey, this is what I want from you, because you could be, think you're doing okay, and then all of a sudden
You're not,
you get,
at all. And then you get ghosted.
You get ghosted. There's
That's
with
the
no
worst.
warning.
And it's worse
No
when you
warning.
don't know why. Like, exactly like you said, if you think you're doing good and doing everything right, and then they just disappear. It's like,
Exactly.
where the fuck did you
Yeah.
go? Like, what?
And me,
I have been ghosted. That's
two-
horrible.
And I'm a 2-text person. So like, if I send one text and I don't get a response,
You send
like
another
half a day later, or a few hours later, I'll send a
Like a check-in
I'll send
text?
I'll send a meme or
Like,
something
hey,
like that.
Hey, have you died? Are you still
Hey there,
alive?
knock knock.
Exactly. And after that, I was like, okay, I'll take the hint. It's all good.
Yeah.
I hit the mic.
That's all good. That's all good. No, I hear you. I'm gonna say something controversial. And the reason why I say controversial, because I don't have, like I said, I don't have the experience. But just once again, from what I've heard, to be quite honest, modern dating, and I don't know, I don't want to call it old fashioned, because I'm not that old, but I guess dating of yesterday.
Like
To
you're in
me-
between.
To me, it's really not that different from the way it sounds, right? And the reason why I say that, I feel like what is important to people now are the same things that was important to people back in 2010 or 2005 or 2000 or but I think just the order of things have changed, right? For example, I'll give you a good example, and this is like something we've had talks about off camera, so you probably already know what's coming here. But usually people are looking at looks, right? That's still important. People are looking at security, right? Am I going to get with this person that feels safe, whether that's safe physically or safe emotionally? Is this person going to take care of my emotional needs? Are they going to cheat on me? Blah blah blah, right? They're also looking at financial security too. Now typically men we don't care too much about that as long as you're not burning through money like crazy, and now we got to keep up with your lifestyle
Well,
in
now
order
you
to
guys
even
are
date
behind
you.
and in debt,
Yeah,
and there's
see,
a
now-
mortgage on the house, and
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff.
I mean, I think like for men, like really what we're looking at is like financial responsibility.
Yeah.
Like I've never not dated someone because they make less to me, but I know a lot of women that really matters to them. They won't date a man who makes less than them or someone who, doesn't have a certain amount of wealth, right? But then there's status as well. And I think everything has just been kind of shifted, right? So status, back in the day wasn't really that important, but it still was, right? Like I'll give you a great
It
example.
wasn't that important because of social media.
I mean, social media was still a thing, but there was different there was different levels or different type of status, right? So like social media now, you're able to kind of fabricate this lifestyle that you live, right? You may not actually live it, but you can present yourself in a way as if you have this luxurious lifestyle.
Make believe life
right?
and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. But, of the dating of yesterday, you really couldn't do that on social media, so you actually literally had to be living it.
Well, yeah. Let's take it back. Let's take it all the way back to the Stone Age. You know what I'm saying? you had the women who were the gatherers and stuff like that. They wanted to be with a hunter. If you were a man that didn't hunt, that didn't go out and get yours,
I mean, all the cartoons I've seen is dudes go and hits the girl over the head, drags her away, and then that's her man. that's not her man.
That's not how it works. No, I mean, Scoop is right. Back in the Stone Age, you had to provide, but you also had to look. You had to look like a provider first. You had to all right, can this tailor protect me? Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But like even to get to modern day stuff, right? So for example, when I was 19 years old, I DJ'd. Right, I DJ'd at a ton of house parties. I DJ'd at clubs every now and again. But DJs don't make a ton of money, or anything. Like they're not. Like I wasn't 18 years old and balling, but everybody wants to be around the DJ. Everybody.
They want to look cool.
Yeah, everybody wants to know the DJ. So it gave me a certain level of status that afforded me more options in women, right? And then even after DJing, right, I started working for a sales company. I'm wearing a suit every single day, and then I worked my way up in that sales company to where, I'm the assistant manager and I'm doing all the meetings. I'm doing all the trainings. I'm doing all the debriefings. I'm doing the interviews, right? So I look like the man. And that too, once again, like it created this, I guess this level of desirability for myself, right? But now on the flip side, in modern day, you can have 10,000, subscribers or 10,000 followers, and that's just as valuable. If like there was two Scoobies, and one Scooby made more money, but that Scooby only had 300 followers. But then there's another Scooby that made just slightly less money, but he had 100,000, followers or subscribers. They're probably gonna take that one.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's all about status.
Yeah.
Showing everyone, look what I got.
Yeah, no,
Look
absolutely.
who I'm with. That's, I think, what a big problem with modern dating is today.
Yeah.
Everyone goes for looks and everything, and then that's also, I think, like a really huge issue. Because then when you're like a good looking person and that's like what people like look for, I feel like they can be really manipulative and take advantage of people and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's toxic in a lot of ways, but that's I feel like one aspect of it.
I feel like people aren't ready because you okay. So what do people say? Something that's really oh, hold on. I'll let Prince.
No, go ahead. I was just saying screw up.
Oh, so what? So when you get into a relationship, people usually say the most important part of a relationship, in order to be successful in a relationship, is communication.
Yeah.
And I think that's where people fail in the beginning stages of dating. It's communication. You know what I'm saying? So we're not actually talking like about what we should be talking about if we're actually starting to date. You know, instead of telling me, hey, this doesn't make me comfortable, or this, I don't really like when you do this or that, and during the dating. Instead, we're like, oh, nope, he messed up. That's red flag. I'm out.
See, I feel like more what the problem is not communication, but compromise. Because I feel like a lot of people are very vocal about what they want and what they like and kind of the standards that they set and want to do. But like you said, if they make a mistake, like they're not willing to try and fix or forgive, or when you're saying what you want, people don't compromise. They're like, oh, you either take me for all of me or take me for nothing. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's not okay. Like everyone has flaws, everyone has stuff that people don't have to accept. That's just a part of life, unfortunately.
Right, and that's where you peace out. Like I feel like in relationships there are certain steps or certain periods in the relationship where you are looking to compromise, right? I'll be honest with you. At the beginning of the relationship or the beginning of dating, I'm not looking to compromise anything. Like I'm not going to, right? So like if I meet someone on day one, we have a date, and I start telling her about my life. I start telling her about things that I know may bother certain women, right? Like, for example, with my wife, Jasmine, one of the first things I told her was, hey, I have a lot of female friends. I do. And I'm not going to cut them off just because I'm in a relationship. I'm not willing to compromise on that, right? So, like, if a girl tells me, hey, I'm really uncomfortable with that, okay, this is date one. Like, we haven't invested any time. We didn't really waste
I'm
any
not saying
time.
compromise your whole life and your morals, but I'm just saying, like, people don't like to compromise at all. Like, if they have a big ass checklist of this is what I want in a man, and if the man doesn't check all of them, like one or two boxes is checked off, next. So, like they don't compromise.
So
like,
it sounds like you're
compromising your big morals. That's not I'm okay with, because that really changes you as a person. Mm-hmm. But I'm talking about little stuff that can easily be looked over that people just decide not to because their fucking ego is like huge.
So from what it sounds like, you're talking more about like things that they want or things that they desire in a partner. Am I like understanding you correctly?
Just like in anything, because you can compromise what you want to be changed. Like you can communicate what you want in a relationship, and like how you want your partner to be.
Right, and those things are. I feel like those things are. You have the ability to compromise on that.
Yeah,
right?
that's what
Especially
I'm talking about. But I'm not talking about like morals, like because like I said, that changes you as a person. Right. That's who you are.
Right, like things about like who I am as a person. Like I'm not compromising on those things day one. Maybe when the relationship gets more serious, and now we're having more dialogue about certain things that are making someone uncomfortable, or certain things that would make someone feel more fulfilled. Mm-hmm. Like sure, but like day one, I'm not going to change who I am, just to hope that this thing is going to work out, and then it doesn't work out, and I get what you're saying, but I'm just, I just hope, like.
Because you can have all this, like, dream about how, like, you want your dream person to be and stuff, and you have that honeymoon phase with somebody, and they're perfect. So you don't really have to compromise. You don't really have to compromise because you're in that honeymoon stage. But once that stage is over, that's when you really see who the real person is. And that's when you have to start compromising. So, I mean, even if it was on day one, you will have to compromise eventually. So, I feel like it's not a bad thing if you were to have to. But I'm not talking about changing yourself.
Yeah, I hear you.
You know what I mean?
And I agree with you. I definitely do. So, I have a question for you, Megan.
Oh, no?
Okay,
what?
What is big dick energy?
Hold on, I'm prepared for this.
Oh, my God. She had notes for it.
Urban Dictionary. She's looking that up right now.
I already had it ready. Thank you. So big dick energy, by definition, is having confidence without cockiness. And out of all the definitions I read, that's my favorite one. And let me give you it in a sentence.
Yeah.
Pete Davidson has big dick energy. That's the example I have here, and I just thought it was funny because I know you cannot stand him.
Pete Davidson. I don't dislike Pete Davidson, but what about him gives him big dick energy?
Okay. With him, I don't know, it's just his, like, aura. He just doesn't give a fuck, and he just handles his own shit. I mean, look at his roster of females that he's dated. Like, it's just, like, high-list, A-list people. Like, he has to have that. Like, top of the list has big dick energy. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know how to explain how he has it, but
I've
does.
heard people try to explain it.
And he probably has a big dick.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably what it is. And he can make... If a guy can make a girl's panties come off, then she's hooked. Like, oh, hold on. I said that so wrong. If a guy can make a girl laugh, her panties will fall right off. That's usually how it goes. Don't look at me like that. Like, that's true. If a guy's really, really funny, girls like that.
I'm not.
I kind of disagree with that definition because I feel like
What definition?
I feel that one because I feel like big dick energy does come with a sense of cockiness. Like, you can be confident and cocky, but not toxic cocky. You know what I mean?
Well,
like arrogant.
No, but that would be.
Yeah.
But
No,
that would
you
be,
can be cocky, but not arrogant.
That would be confident. The difference between confident and cockiness is that aura of I'm an asshole or I'm not an asshole. Like what you just said, like that. That's what the difference is. Because cockiness is like, oh, I'm the shit. But having confidence is like, oh, I
But then
look
also
good.
being an asshole is in the eye of the beholder. Because somebody could be an asshole to you, but not an asshole to somebody else up the
That's
street
true.
too.
That's a good point. Like some people, that's what they want. Like, I mean, they want someone to walk with a certain level of swagger.
Mm-hmm.
But then certain people, that amount of swagger could turn them off. It could come off.
I get what you're saying.
You know, but like the reason why I asked that question because I feel like every time people praise it, like, oh, this person has big dick energy, it's things like he put $1,000 in my bank account and told me to go shopping and blah 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 blah, and
I think big dick energy. I said this so weird. I think that has to do with like, I don't know. I feel like just like someone that will make you like a man that'll make you feel secure.
Okay.
Like, honestly, like when I think of that and I think of stuff, I usually think of someone that makes me feel secure. Like they're gonna do something that's just gonna. I'm losing my words right now, but that's what I think it is.
So let me ask you this: what's the difference between someone who has big dick energy and a simp?
Because I feel like someone has big dick. I have to stop saying that because I'm saying it really fucking.
Say BDE.
BDE.
Stop saying. I'm tired of the word.
I know we've said it a lot.
That's like.
So
I'm starting to feel a little weird about it even myself. Like,
so
weird.
the difference between that is like a simp is someone who like can't live without you. I feel like they will do anything in their power to make you happy and make sure that like you don't leave and you stay. While I feel like someone who has BDE, they don't technically need you. Like they're good on their own. Like they're secure within themselves. That if they're with you, they're fine. But if they're not going to go beg you and buy you all these things for them to try to stay with you and stuff like that.
So is being a simp unattractive?
It depends. It depends because if you're a simp emotionally, it's different because like girls like the emotional. But if you're a simp like money wise, it just buys girls but you buy a girl everything. You take her on shopping trips. Like all it is money with the attraction, and that's different. What was your question again?
It said is being a simp unattractive.
Yeah, so that's the difference with it being unattractive.
So, I was in my last relationship, like real relationship. My ex used to call me a simp all the time, just from like thinking about her buying her flowers. And
That's gentleman. See, and that's
like first date bought her flowers.
You're a simp.
I'm a simp.
But
she made it seem like being a simp was a great thing to her.
Oh.
The way you're saying it didn't
simps.
sound like that. Yeah, some women like that because they usually someone who's a simp is very honestly emotional too, and like they care about that person. They give that person attention. Someone who wants that attention or is lacking attention is gonna like someone who's being a simp. Partly, I don't think that's the whole reason why, but I think that's like part of the reason why.
Okay.
I would like to be with someone who's a simp, like emotionally. Because that's what I want. I want that emotional thing. Like, men that have no emotion and can't share it are like brick fucking walls. And they are horrible to date. Horrible to date.
Okay.
But I feel like, hold on. I feel like men have a love-hate relationship with the word simp. But they mostly hate it. Because they make it feel like it's like demasculine.
No.
I don't think
We,
that's a word.
well, I mean, we didn't create the word. I mean, women did, right?
I know, but it's how you
And
guys perceive the definition of it. You guys don't take when a guy gets called a simp. Guys don't like that.
yeah, we don't like that because women don't like it.
What do you think?
When
I just
women
told you what
refer-
I said, and you were looking at me in amazement because you never
yeah,
heard that.
because every woman that I mean, besides from what you just said,
Well,
every woman I hear call someone a simp, it's a bad thing.
And what I just heard from you, I'm not trying to attack you, but what I
No,
just
no, let's go.
what I
Let's
heard
go.
from you was, yeah, I would like a guy to be a simp emotionally, but also have BDE the other way. Like you don't want so being a simp also comes with stipulations. Like you can be a simp, but not in that way. You got to be a simp in this way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes it kind of confusing though. You know, it's kind of like have your cake and eat it too, almost, right? Like
I don't think really a lot of. Well, no, I feel like shallow women like the men's that simp with money.
I think they keep them around. I don't think they like them, but I think they definitely keep them around just so that way.
They're there if they need them.
Yeah,
The materialistic women probably.
yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like you say, it's confusing, but I'm not saying all women feel the same way about this. Certain women feel that way about like being a simp money wise, and some women feel the other way.
Yeah.
But sometimes being a simp is it's emotional too. Like or so I've been told. Like I've been called a simp just for, you know, liking to cuddle a little bit more than your typical guy. You know what I mean? Like liking to be all up on my girl and hugging and kissing and stuff like that.
See,
that
that's a
makes
part of
me
a
a simp.
relationship.
But I like to do it a lot, so that makes me a simp because I like to be a little bit more physical.
That doesn't make you a simp.
Than usual.
That doesn't make you a simp. That girl just didn't know how to handle emotions. That doesn't make you a simp. I don't think that
I'm
does.
sure she doesn't see this podcast.
All right. You know, and one of the other things too, you know, we kind of already touched on it a little bit, social media, and you know, the thing with social media, and the reason why I think it's really affected the modern dating society or blah blah blah, is that you know women have more options, right? Because like the things that men are attracted to about women are usually physical. To be quite honest with you, right? And there are things that can easily be seen on the internet. I mean, the internet's a very visual place. It's you know, show me what you look like, show me how you live, show me what you do, you know,
All of that.
right? So when a woman posts on social media, immediately she's going to have you know options depending on what she posts, right? If you
Yeah, that's
if you're
definitely
thirst
true.
trapping, there's going to be people at your door waiting for your availability. Now with men, it's not that easy, you know, because I can, you know, post something on social media, but it's not going to get nearly as many hits as a woman, you know, would get on posting a video
Depends.
of her
That's
twerking or some
That
shit.
depends.
You know
That
what I'm
depends.
saying?
If you're like this, okay, I have to say, if you're like super muscular and like
Yeah,
sweaty,
if you're like the
video,
top
if
10%.
a guy can thirst trap and get just as much views as a girl.
But the
What are
average,
you saying?
but I'm saying the average guy doesn't look
Average
like,
guy, yeah, that's true.
the average guy is not competing with the average girl. They can't. They're not in the same like class. I mean, the average girl can post on social media, and she's going to get hits. She's going to get likes. She's going to
That's
get
true.
comments. She's going to get DMs. But the average guy is not. Now, if you're above average and you look like Chris Hemsworth, yeah, like you're gonna get hit up.
Well,
But
wait. I feel like that has to do with like the dating norms that have been set in place for fucking ever. Like men are supposed to court women and do all this stuff. Women, it's becoming more common now and everything, and I've even done it in the past. That's one thing I think has changed. Is it's more men are supposed to court and do all that. Like that's like the idea that I feel like a lot of people have. So that's why women I don't think will message. And also, like you said, they have options. They don't really have to. Like the guys come to the girls for the most part.
I agree to that to an extent, but no, I think there's more to it. Okay, yes, I think you know the dating norms do definitely play a role. Like women typically they don't in a normal setting approach men. It does happen, but it's not a very common thing. However, I think there's more into it, but you know I did have like a couple stats just to kind of back up you know what I was saying about social media. So for example, another social media platform, whether you want to call it social media or not. But I consider Tinder social media. So you can
Yeah.
message on it, you post your media, all that stuff, right? So women swipe no on Tinder 95% of the time. So
That's believable.
5% means the top 5% of what they see on Tinder is getting a swipe.
I can totally
Yes.
believe that.
Okay.
Totally believe that.
Men are swiping yes 53% of the time.
Men, I feel like, cause like I.
So women are swiping no.
So being
90.
a gentleman of Tinder. This is what I am. I am a gentleman of Tinder. Okay.
That was funny.
I use my swipes. Reason being is because my Tinder likes look a lot different than my homegirl's Tinder likes.
Yeah.
She got 99 plus. You don't even know how many. She doesn't even know her number of the dudes that have swiped right on her. I got 7. You know what I'm saying? And Tinder doesn't actually show you the 7. You have to keep on swiping to find the 7 that actually match with you, and then you take your pick on whether or not you actually want to talk to that. To the person that you saw. You're like, you liked me?
You can match.
Well, let me see.
You can match with them, but you still got to go out of your way to send them a DM.
Because you don't know. Unless you're willing to pay that $50 a month, which I'm not willing to pay $50.
Wait, $50 a month for what?
It's like $30.
Okay.
That's still a lot of money.
For Tinder.
That's a lot of money.
It's like Tinder Gold, where they show you who likes you.
Wait, you get what, 2 more swipes? That's
and
ridiculous.
So it's a whole thing. And so, but also I feel like it is just to play devil's advocate a little bit here. I do know that Tinder's a little bit rougher on women.
What do you mean?
Let me put it. So, a woman, like I said, you guys go through, like you can be on Tinder for like 2 minutes and you'll find a match, but there's also a chance that the dude that you match with is the worst dude in the world. You won't know. And so it kind of can throw you off because you can meet 150 assholes and be trying to talk to them, and they're all boring. Hey, how you doing?
Okay, bye.
Show me your tits. That's pretty much that's.
Oh,
that's
are
what
you talking
can,
about with all like the random dick pics and everything?
Exactly.
That is the worst.
And that happens more often.
Those.
That happens more often to women than you might think. It's like every one. So you know it's a diamond in the rough when you find one that actually is willing to have a good conversation with you and talk to you. So I get why it's kind of like, oh, none of these girls are matching with me, but I'm like, they're probably sick of dealing with the assholes, or sick of dealing with the people who are just gonna send me a dick pic as soon as I swipe right on them. That's why I understand why you swipe no 90% of the time.
You can tell though too, okay? Because I've been on.
You can look at someone and be like, that guy's gonna send a dick pic.
It's a vibe, like this. Just like I hate Tinder. Hated it. Really bad experiences with Tinder. And I've had so many of those messages. I just literally have. You
Blinders?
probably haven't.
What?
But I don't think you have. I don't think you have either. Do you guys have you ever just randomly sent a dick pic?
Never.
No, that's
Never.
weird.
I don't.
Hey,
That's weird.
here's my
No,
dick.
that's-
Like, I just can't. That's so weird. It's just weird. But yes,
No.
it's very abusive to women. To get back on subject, I do agree, because I feel like guys can make girls feel very vulnerable and take advantage with sex, which is the point of Tinder. It's basically to hook up.
Okay, but I think that is also, too, like why I think you should like more on Tinder. I think you should swipe more on Tinder. Like if you're trying to find the right person, you have to create a bigger pool. You get what I'm saying? Like, I think everything, I break down everything to law of averages, right? Like, if I do something so many times, then I'm going to get the result that I actually want, right? So, if I'm only swiping yes on 5% of the men that pop up on my Tinder, then that means I'm only giving 5% a chance. And if all 5 happen to be assholes, now what? Now I'm back to the drawing board. I gotta wait tomorrow for some more swipes, or however it works on Tinder.
Just don't use Tinder. Just don't use Tinder. Tinder's not the way to go. It's not.
I agree. I think people need
Actually, I'm sorry. I don't mean to cut you off.
Go ahead.
I have a friend, or she's like my sister, basically. Her and her girlfriend met on Tinder, I believe. It was a dating app, but I believe it was Tinder.
Okay.
They're the only people that I know that have been a successful dating app, like Tinder type stuff, like Tinder and stuff. I've met someone I know a couple who got together from like a dating site like eHarmony, and that's a little more advanced dating. That's not the same thing. But I've never met anyone else besides them that's lasted. Am I tripping? Are these lights flashing?
Okay, no, that was a flash. I did.
They're
see one.
surging.
They're surging. So, my sister-in-law and her wife, they also met on Tinder. I don't think Tinder is necessarily the root of the issue, but what I do think is the dependency of all social media is part of the issue with modern dating, and that kind of leads us to the next segment here. So I do have two videos for us to watch or listen to. I just want to hear what you guys' take is.
I do not accept a coffee or a walk as a possible date option, and neither should you. First of all, I'm not a dog that needs to be walked. Second, I have an espresso machine at home, works fabulous. We're not doing drinks either. You're gonna try to get me drunk and take me back home. No. We are doing dinner. You're gonna pick me up. We're gonna come to the restaurant. We're gonna see your table manners. We're gonna see what you order. We're gonna see, do you hold your chopsticks correctly? We're just gonna, study you a bit. Okay? So dinner it is.
What are your thoughts on that?
She just sounds so hostile. Like really, really just like aggressive about it. Like a
No,
drill
thanks.
sergeant.
Like, yeah,
you're gonna be this on this date, and
Yeah.
you're gonna do this. Like,
Right, you're not gonna
hold your chopsticks right.
You're not
What the
gonna
fuck?
walk me. You're not gonna take me to coffee.
You're gonna take
You
me to
have-
dinner, okay?
Yeah, this
no
is what
drinks.
you're gonna do. Like,
That's
oh,
literally how she sounds.
shit, did you ask me on a date?
Right.
Like,
So you're paying then.
right,
Which,
basically.
but okay. With that being said, though, with her tone being really fucking weird, I feel like part of what she says is correct. Like, I feel like if you're trying to date someone, no, don't take me to a bar and go dancing and clubbing and stuff like that. Would be good for like a second or third date. Not when you're really trying to get to know somebody. That's what I feel like. Like dinner would be good or something fun, not something where you're about around a bunch of people. It's really hard for me to say. To where you like can't get to know each other. You know what I mean? Like I don't
Yeah.
feel like that's personable at all. That's not a smart thing. I agree on that part.
So I've been on dates with women who actually prefer that whole walk in the park as a first date or a hike as a first date. Because, yeah, you're around each other together. It's a public place. It's daylight out.
I thought she said bar.
No, she said
no, she
park.
said coffee shop and don't take me on a walk.
Don't take me on a walk.
Basically, no walks in the park, no
could've-
walks
I
on the
could've-
beach.
Anything like that.
My
That's what
bad.
she said.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I went on this rant for no reason.
And
I thought she.
No,
I thought
I mean,
she
you-
meant
you had
that-
a reason.
But
I
no,
mean,
she said. I'm gonna have to listen to it again. But she said, "Don't take me out to drinks because you're just gonna try to get drunk and sleep with me." So
she
that's
did.
what I was
say
talking
that.
about.
She
Yeah.
did say
I didn't
that.
hear the first part.
Yeah.
I think that stuff's perfectly fine. That's personable. That's
'cause
nice
I'm like,
stuff to do on a date.
It's public. It's daylight. I mean, saying you don't want to go out. If for people who are
Yeah.
trying to gain trust or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Meet
Yeah, I'll
someone
take
private.
you out.
She sounds like materialistic. Partly, that's part of it. Is too. I think her mentality is she's materialistic. It's like, oh, you're gonna take me to a nice, expensive restaurant and do all this stuff.
Yeah. My whole rule on first dates is that, like you said, it has to be somewhere where it's not crowded. Because I want to be able to talk to the person that I'm dating, and I want to get to know them, and I want to have conversations with them. But the first date is not always going to be dinner. It's not always going to be
Right.
I think going to the movies on the first date is not the way to go, just because you can't really talk during a movie, or at least the movies I'm gonna take you to, I don't want you talking at all.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, shut up, Spider-Man's on screen. Don't you say a word. But the dates, for me, are dependent on the conversations I've had with the person, right? And I think that's where you show, how much you care and how good of a listener you are. Now you make a good impression, because if you've had conversations with a person and you've gotten to know them even just a little bit, they've given you a little bit of an insight to their lives, right? They've given you a little bit of insight to things that they've done.
Level one of who they are.
Yeah,
basically.
things that they don't, that they haven't done, things that they would be willing to do. And you can kind of sneak these conversations in without making it sound obvious that you're all, trying to plan the date around that.
It's not a quiz. Yeah. It's like,
Yeah.
You can make it. Actually have a conversation. Don't have a mental checklist. Okay, let me ask this question next.
Some people do that though.
It's
Some people do that, and that's absolutely crazy to me.
Yeah. Well, I'll give you an example. And this might be an over dramatic example, just because like I said, me and my wife, we knew each other in high school, so there was already a little bit of trust built there, but not enough to where. No. But anyways, so our first date, we went to San Francisco, right? I had two cameras, and I took both the cameras. She got one, I got one, and we basically made a tourist day out of it.
Well, that's fun.
Yeah, we walked around San Francisco. She got to take some photos. I got to show her how to use the camera, so I got to basically give her an experience. But the whole reason why I took her to San Francisco in the first place was because what she had told me in a previous conversation is that she never travels. Matter of fact, she only had traveled to 3 places in her whole entire life at that time, right? And I'm well traveled. I've lived in different states, so
Lucky.
that was the idea. It was like, hey, let me give her an experience. Let me do something that's going to be memorable. Let me make a great impression. And I think, for a lot of men, that's usually the number one error that they make is they don't put enough thought into it. Like everyone usually has a game plan before they even ask to go on the date. Like they already know, like, all right, I'm going to take her on dinner, to dinner after we've texted for 5 days and we've had this conversation and blah, blah, blah. Like, no, just like lead with, I feel you. Like, I mean, lead with your gut, get to know the person and just listen. Like be a really good listener and all the answers will be right there for you.
Well, yeah, and at that point, because if you're really doing what you just described, you're imitating. You're imitating what you've seen online, what you've seen other people do. I said, but it's more attractive to create. It's more attractive to be a creator, like be somebody that invents your own ideas, for a great date. Because take her to something that she hasn't thought of yet, and then be a little bit more creative, and that's I feel like that's a better route.
I feel like the level of creativeness depends on how much that he likes her.
Yeah, stop.
Obviously, because you said most men don't put effort in.
Yeah,
Those are most men that really don't like that. For example, Jody. I told him I love surprises. He surprises me all the time. Like, we'll go do things, simple things. But he makes it a surprise, and it's just, like, he listened to, like, something that I want, and he does it. And it's like, I feel like a lot of guys don't do that, because I feel like a lot of guys don't generally care. Or maybe not care, but maybe just don't know. Maybe if they do care, they just don't know how to express it very well.
I think that's usually it,
Yeah. It's not all, I want to clarify something. When I'm talking about any type of group of people, I will never mean all of anybody.
Or generalize anybody.
Generalize, yeah I'm never going to do that. I mean like a certain part. So if I don't clarify that I'm only talking about a certain part, that's usually what I mean. I'm always meaning that.
Yeah. No, I hear you. Now, I have another video here, okay?
Okay, cool.
So, this is taking another approach here.
Marriage gonna work for most people in today's modern world? I don't think so. Why? Because average women do not want average men. Average women want high value men. There is only a small portion of high value men who can actually get a larger return on investment from the union of marriage, more than just family legacy, that kind of stuff. That's why you tend to see millionaires and billionaires married. But the people in the middle, there used to be a benefit to average men for marrying. Today, there's little to no benefit for an average man to marry because average women don't want them. And if an average woman was to get with an average man, the majority of women would think they're settling.
Now, you're making a face over there, Megan.
Because I
call
total bullshit on that. I don't like his tone either. Like, what is it with these videos and these, like, narcissistic tones? I can't stand it. I don't agree with that.
At all?
Average can like average. Not every woman wants that status that he was talking about of man. And I feel like he said something about women not wanting an average man. I think what he was saying is like not women, average women not wanting to marry average men, and that's why the marriage rate is down. Am I wrong? Is that where you're getting from that? Because that's what I was getting from that.
I agree, and I think
agree with what I was like. What he was trying to say.
Yes, I agree to an extent. Okay, and Megan often, and I know like when you talk about these things, you kind of use yourself as the example, but you're kind of an outlier in a sense You know, like you. I mean, I'm gonna give you a compliment. You have a good head on your shoulders.
Thank you.
Okay.
Because I don't know what outlier means.
Meaning, like you're kind of on the outside looking in, or you know.
Point of view.
Yeah, like
Okay.
from what I've heard, from what women want, from what women have told me what they want. A lot of times they have unrealistic standards,
I get what you're saying now.
right?
Yeah.
They have unrealistic standards, but then they also have unrealistic expectations. And then there's also a trend of toxic desires that don't end up actually working out. And I'll give you an example of one, right? So, you know, right now there's like this a movement for, you know, women. I want him to be obsessed with me. If he's not obsessed with me, then throw the whole man away. Like that whole narrative is toxic, and the reason why it's toxic is because in reality, it doesn't work, and I'll tell you that from experience. I've been that dude. I've been that guy who's obsessed over his girl and made sure that she knew every waking moment, every breathing moment that, hey, I'm still thinking about you.
Creepy. Like, hey, I'm outside your window.
I hope you haven't forgot.
Were you cold last night? You didn't really use your blanket at
Yeah,
all. Like, a creepy like that.
You know, I'm gonna call you when you're sleeping just to let you know I was thinking about you before I went to bed. Like that, like, you know, just next level.
I've never met any.
Look at me,
I've
put
never
myself
met
on-
any woman who wants that.
Put myself on blast there, but you know what I'm saying is, like, I think in serious relationships, people don't want that, even though they may say that that's what they want. You know, because once you actually get serious, I mean, you spent time with this person. You've gotten to know this person.
See their flaws and everything.
Their attention isn't the only thing that you want from this person anymore, right? Like, you now are starting to build goals with them, right? Like, and the other thing too is it creates like this, once again, this toxic level of entitlement where, you know, my partner is for me, right? Like, I'm in this relationship because my partner wants me. Right, and I think that's like, I think when you hyper focus on that, like,
What do you mean by that? I'm only with this person because this person wants me.
So from my experience, being with a person for 7 years, they have had long relationships before that. You know, when you're in a relationship, you are still two separate people living two separate lives together.
Right.
Okay? But a lot of people have this thought that when you get together, your lives are now blended. You live one life. Right? So that person is supposed to do these things for me, because if
We're
they
together
don't, you know, then it's over. And that, to me, is the wrong way to think about it, right? Like, for example, you know, everyone has different things that make them feel loved, right? You know, I always tell people love is an action. Everyone has all these different things that make them feel loved. My wife doing something that makes me feel loved isn't because I made her do it and I've told her you're supposed to, or else, you know, I'm going to walk out of this relationship.
Right.
Like, no, she's doing it because she's obliging. She wants to do it, right? But then she also has the energy to do it, right? I'm not demanding her energy. She's giving it to me because she didn't demand my energy. I gave it to her, right? So there's this even balance and this ebb and flow. But people in relationships today, they are demanding each other's energy, and they're demanding each other's time, and they're demanding each other's presence, and they're stealing energy from one another, and they're stealing so much energy from one another, they don't have any more left.
So I wanted to get into an example. When me and my ex, when we were together, like, so I feel like when you said we're, you know, feeding off of each other's energy, I feel like there's some sort of entitlement that comes with both the man and the woman in the relationship, because from my experience, I was with, I was with her, and she, in the beginning, there was a certain way that I treated her. It was, you know, chivalrous, open car doors. You know,
Is it because you wanted to, or
it's because I
she
wanted to.
wanted you to do that?
It's because that energy. I was feeding off of her energy. She liked me just as much as I liked her.
Right.
And then it became no matter how much I saw her personality change over time, and how much I saw because I feel vibrations. I feel energy. I feel when things start to shift, and it kind of turns me off, and so it becomes a problem. I can change, and then also it was a weird dynamic where she was more like on the end of I can change as much as I want to change, but I expect you to stay the same and feed me that same energy that you've been giving me, and I feel like that's happened more often to a lot of people. It's just like, you know, they have, whether it's the man or the woman, the one party wants to, you know, do whatever they want to do, and no matter how much they change their attitude, oh, you acting different, oh, you acting strange. Well, no, I'm reading what you're giving me, and I'm adjusting accordingly. And I feel like, I
feel like people like that just don't want to. They don't want to hold their actions accountable and take responsibility for it. They want to put the blame on someone else. Like, oh, it's your fault you're not giving me this energy, even though I'm not putting that energy and an effort in. How fucking dare you? Do you know what I mean?
The audacity.
You know,
The audacity. Yes, exactly.
what it says to me though, when anybody wants that amount of energy from somebody or that amount of attention, usually it means that they are expecting a certain amount of dependency. And in some way, shape, or form, they're also dependent on that as well, right? So to me, it's a red flag, and it usually says to me this person is unstable in some type of way. That's just what it tells me. And, you know, most of the time I've actually been right. You know, and this is not even in today's dating world. This is
in general.
No, this has been like in the past. I mean, this is like stuff I've even experienced in high school. This is stuff I've experienced even after high school. You know, when people need that much dependency from you, it's because
it's an inner issue.
Yeah, it is because there's something internally that's going on there, and if they don't get that energy from you, then they start to doubt themselves. They start to have insecurities.
They use it as a coping mechanism.
Absolutely.
To cover up their feelings. Like, some people use alcohol and drugs. Some people use affection and sex and all that type of stuff from people to feel the same way.
Yeah,
exactly.
And that's why, you know, that's one of the other issues that, you know, I see with modern dating is that, and this is not just with modern dating, this is actually with a lot of trends in this new generation, is everything is about feelings, right? It's if this doesn't make me feel good, then I have to leave. You know, it's if this doesn't, you know what I'm saying? Like if I'm with this person and I no longer feel good with this person,
people not
then
putting
this
in the
person
work.
Exactly.
People don't put in the work anymore, and that's why a lot of relationships. Oh god, we could go on about this another topic, and we should.
Because relationships are about changing and evolving, and how am I supposed to change and evolve to, you know, help better please you as a person if you're not giving me the opportunity?
Right, and I'll say this too. You know, change, regardless of what it is uncomfortable. And people...
But it's going to happen no matter what.
Exactly.
You are not going to be the same person that you started with. Like, you and Jasmine are not the same people from when you guys started dating, nor the same people since you guys have been married.
No.
You know what I mean? And as you grow older, you have to change. You can't stay stationary anyway.
Right.
Where's the progress?
Right. And not just the change, but also the work, you know. I mean, hard work is uncomfortable. Hard work is hard work. It takes a certain amount of sacrifice that you have to make. It's a time investment, you know, and I think a lot of people nowadays don't want to put that time in there.
I think people don't think they need to.
Yeah, I think everybody feels, not everybody, sorry.
Like, they're so good that they don't have, like, not everybody, but a lot, some people feel like, oh, I'm hot shit. I don't have to put in the effort in. People will just come running to me like I'm good enough.
Yeah, and so we've come full circle.
Exactly.
Where, you know, we're in that whole, you know, speed dating route again, where people are like, oh, well,
check off the checklist.
Yeah, exactly. You get what I'm giving you, and if you don't like it, or if I don't like what you're giving me,
next.
Oh, yeah, like what it is I'm good enough to get everything that I want without having to put the work in.
Exactly.
Right? Like, I deserve the dream husband, and the dream husband's going to give me everything I want 24/7. And if there's a problem, it's him, or, you know, the other way around. I'm sure men probably do the same thing, but just from the conversations that I've heard, and even like certain videos that I've watched. Like I mean, I don't take everything I see on the internet seriously, of course, because everything on the internet's not serious, especially. TikTok. I'm super new to TikTok, but like,
I'm surprised you haven't been sucked in sooner. Like that play, you're just like 6 hours, and all of a sudden you're just like scrolling.
No, I watched 6 minutes of it, and I'm like, okay, my brain has died enough today. But
oh my God. I'll sit there and just scroll.
there's a lot of toxicity, and there's a lot of praise of toxicity on the internet, and everyone feels this level of entitlement that they're supposed to have what they want, and then we're in the and I hate keep going back and saying this. I had to find another new word for social media, but social media is now a workplace, right? And the cool thing about it is that you could literally walk into somebody's office just by going on their page, right? So you have people on social media who are making a living, and what they post is essentially that that lifestyle to promote their business, their brand. Everybody wants that now. Everybody's dream job is to be a content creator. Everybody wants to, be on social media and make money from it. And so everyone's kind of chasing this particular lifestyle. And that particular lifestyle has a certain aesthetic. And I truly believe that's one of the other issues with dating as well. Whether people want to admit it or not, there has become a hyper focus on appearance when it comes to dating. Right? You have to look internet presentable in order to be my partner. I mean, I'm seeing a whole lot of secret relationships on social media too, where it's like, my man does this, my man's done that, but you ain't posted a picture of your man. And it's like,
but you know why? Because people talk. Okay, I'm so sorry. I may sound super shallow right now, and I don't give a fuck. But like, I'm not saying I do this. I don't do this. Okay. Not now. I used to in the past. I've grown a lot. But there would be times where people would post pictures with their significant others, and I would talk a little bit of shit because I'd be like, "Are you serious?" So I feel like unfortunately that's just a horrible stigma. But yes, people want photo presentable people to be with. Like people don't want you talking shit.
But they probably found happiness, and you're hating on their happiness. They're happy.
That's just bitterness.
They're happy with this ugly motherfucker right here because you know what I'm saying.
And I get that. Like I said, it wasn't. I said wasn't right, and you're right. It sounds a little bitter to me. Is probably what I was.
Because I'm like, what's important is, I mean, maybe he had that big dick energy. He was ugly, but he, you know what I'm saying? He had that. Pete Davidson. So I get it, but because I've been victim of it too. Well, not victim, but like I've fallen to that too. Like where I think the girl is probably feeling me. Like we'll be talking for damn near a month, and then we finally get that first date. We go out on the movie. We go out to I did the bad thing. I took her to a movie. Took her to the but we went to the drive-ins.
That's not necessarily.
And it wasn't necessary. And it wasn't.
Okay, the drive-in is different.
And it wasn't like a movie.
Why?
And
because
the
movies, there's an etiquette.
Yeah, but it wasn't.
Right?
And it wasn't like a movie I was really trying to pay attention to. So I was trying to talk to her a little bit.
In the theaters, there's an etiquette, and you're not allowed to. You're not supposed to talk.
Yeah.
There's no.
I mean, I do. I'm gonna fuck.
So,
I do.
But in the drive-in, it's just you and that person in the car. And I think there's room for talking. And plus, it's two, usually, I mean, at least the West Winds over in Rancho Cordova, they play 2 movies.
Yeah.
So, if the second one's the one that you really want to see, the first one, y'all can do all the talking you want to do, if that's all you're doing.
Do you want to know why I think that a movie's not a bad idea for a first date?
Go ahead.
Because if you take them, like, it doesn't, if let's say the movie's coming out, it's one of your favorite things in the whole wide world. Like, your favorite book is now a movie, blah, 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 blah. And you take that person to see something that you idolize and you love. And I feel like if that person doesn't like it or they kind of like treat it like trash, I feel like that's a good way to filter out if you're going to get along with somebody. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, you don't want, so I feel like in a way, if you use it strategically, a movie is a good idea for a first date.
Yeah.
Not saying you should go to.
Yeah, and then obviously, end of story is, I felt the vibe out, and she was like all the way to the edge of the car, trying not to look. And then when she got out in a hurry, and just was like, "Okay, bye, good night." Like
Oh.
she saw because
no.
because I got out of the car like
Oh, no.
I could tell from the beginning of the date because I got out of the car and I opened the door for her and I could just tell she was like, "Oh, you don't look like I thought you did." And I was like, "Listen, I wasn't trying to catfish you. You didn't see it.
You look like your pictures though, so I don't get that.
The body don't. And aesthetically, she had a fit body. You know what I'm saying? So she was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna like what you gonna look like next to me with my friends. So I'm not."
I think that definitely plays a
That
role
does
in
happen.
dating scene.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's on both sides. You know, like if
Yeah.
like I think more so. So okay, I think more so on the men's side. I don't know. Maybe you could speak to this, but you know, men they want to sport around a woman that everyone
Secure
is
men
gonna.
like that.
Yeah. Some insecure. You're right. Some insecure men may not want that, but I think even them to an extent, you know, like everyone wants to date the hottest girl in the room, right? But also so do the women. You know, they want to be with the hottest dude. That sounds weird to say, but coming out of my mouth. But anyways, yeah, I think both. I think that definitely plays a role into it. And then I think there's also a family dynamic as well. Okay,
Explain that, because that you lost me.
okay, and maybe Scooby, I mean, you could probably speak to this a little bit, and I don't want to harp on this too long, but one of the things that plays a role, especially when it comes to appearance, is the color of your skin. And I have experienced that on both sides. I've experienced that with my side of the family, and I've also experienced that with their side of the family. So, I mean,
I personally, I know what you're talking about, but I've never experienced
So
something like
yeah,
that.
I mean, I straight up had my grandmother on my dad's side of the family. She told me one day, I if you bring home any girl that's not black, I will not support it.
yeah,
And I said, and that actually kind of it damaged our relationship a lot, man. Like I love my grandmother, you know, R.I.P. But yeah, it damaged our relationship a lot. I was like, oh, so you're not gonna support me because based off of who I fall in love with? That's crazy.
Can't help you, like.
I was like, all because of a skin color? Like that's
yeah.
we're in
And that's the thing
it's
that's
old
happening.
way thinking, but it's like
that's the thing that happens, and you know that's that's been the reason why I haven't met some fathers of people who I've dated in the past. You know, just because they don't want to bring them around. They don't want to talk about it. I mean, I'm sure sometimes people who I've even dated, their family members don't even know that they even had a significant other or what they look like. So, that appearance definitely plays a role. And even today, it's not as bad as it was, back in the day. But then again, you got to think about it. A lot of y'all grandmas and grandpas was around during the civil rights movement. So
They're getting freaky on the low.
Like,
Now you get freaky and you just post it everywhere.
yeah.
That's the difference.
So here's the last question: who is more toxic in the dating world, men or women?
You said the best for last.
Yeah, this is a toughie.
What do you think, Scooby?
Who thinks more toxic in the dating world?
Yeah, I'm gonna go last on this one. Men first. So what do you think of?
I can see both sides. So I say it's depending on the situation. Honestly, depending on the situation, both have the ability to be extremely toxic. I'm not gonna side with either one or the other side. Honestly, I've seen is ghosting a toxic thing to do?
Yes.
Yes. I've also I've been ghosted, and I'm not gonna lie, I have ghosted before.
I think everyone has to be
But
fair.
and it's toxic to not say, "Oh, I'm sorry, this conversation is boring me. You're not keeping my attention. I don't feel like you're putting out any effort." Rather than saying that, and expressing it properly, I just stop texting. I'm just like,
Yeah.
let's go. Yeah, but the respectful thing to do obviously would be to say something like that. But then I've also, toxic women. What do you do for a living? Oh, and at the time I was a night crew worker. Oh, I work in the warehouse.
Ghosts.
Crickets.
Yeah.
Like we were
Crickets.
talking about earlier, status.
Yeah.
I could make good money. I could make
Message left on red.
but,
Right.
yeah, nah.
I think both are toxic, but I think men right now have it harder in the dating world. And this may sound biased, but this is,
What?
for example, okay, Scooby.
I appreciate it.
Scooby. in the last year, there's a ballpark. Mm-hmm. How many dates have you gone on in the last year?
In the last year?
Yeah.
Let's say about 15.
15.
Between 15 and 20.
Okay. Let's go with 15. Out of those 15, how many of those dates did the woman ask you to go on a date?
None.
None. Okay. Okay. Meg, I know you're in a relationship, but before the relationship, how many dates did it take before you found the partner? How many dates did you go on in between your relationships?
So I dated a lot.
This is a ballpark number.
Probably the same, but probably about 15 to 20.
Okay.
I've gone on a lot of dates.
Let's say 15, okay? Just once again, easy number.
Right.
Out of those 15, how many did you even hop in their DMs first?
A lot of the people I didn't meet on social media.
Okay, that's fair. But how many did you ask on a date then?
Actually, I am very for the women asking men on dates.
So you
I
asked
don't know
all-
how many exactly, but I've definitely been the person to make the first move.
But would you say 50%?
No?
So you would say less than 50%?
Yeah, can you see me? Guys are gonna approach me. I don't need to make that.
There we go.
Yeah.
Like I know that
further
sounds.
proves
I know
my
that
point.
sounds. I know that sounds
No, but
whatever.
that's-
But that's the thing. Like I know I look good and I'm confident with myself.
But that's the point. Men have it harder in the dating world because of that very thing. All you have to do as a woman to get attention and to get interest is to be good looking. But I have to hop in someone's DMs, or I have to walk up to them at the bar or wherever you're meeting them, and I have to make a good first impression. But then keep in mind, just because I made a good first impression doesn't mean she runs home and deletes her Tinder. No. She's still on Tinder.
She got options.
Yes,
She
she's
keeps
still
that up-
checking
keeps
her.
them options.
She's still
That's
checking
what
her.
dating is.
She's still checking her.
That's what dating is.
But that's why it's harder for men than women. So we
a
already
Guys have
competition.
way more, but guys have just the same amount of options as men. Women are thirst trap and go after men all the time. I'm not saying
Megan.
like more than.
Megan, listen to this skew right here.
Okay.
Listen to this skew, and this goes back to the stat that we talked about earlier.
I hate that.
70% of Tinder are men. 70%. So out of the 70%, women are only swiping yes on 5%. How do men have a ton of options when only 5% of the 70%
You're
of
right.
Tinder
They probably
users?
don't have. They definitely don't have the
And-
same amount
and-
of options.
and
But
by-
I feel like guys can have the same amount
Okay,
of
so
options.
we're jumping into math, right? We're jumping into math.
Not technically.
Let's say I got. Okay, so remember let's go full circle again. Remember those 7 girls that I got on Tinder?
Yeah.
Okay, 2 of them
Yeah.
I actually matched with, and I found them. I was like, okay, cool. Started a conversation with both of them.
Okay.
Cool. One of them I actually got to ask out on a date, and the other one, we just kept talking. She wasn't trying to carry the conversation. So that one that I asked out on a date, we ended up going out on a date. Turns out she got like 5 other dudes that's texting her while we're on the date. She don't respond, but you could see the phone blinking in her pocket going off. You know what I'm saying? Hey, what's up, girl? How you doing?
I'm
Her
so
people
sorry.
matching.
I'm
So look,
hold on. That's a part of dating. Just because you go on one date on someone doesn't
I
mean
get
that person is
I get
theirs.
that. I get that. But she also has like what I think what we're getting at is she has plenty more options.
Yeah.
So I'm still in. So while she's the one that I made it to the date with,
I get what you're saying.
I'm still competing with the 5 other dudes in her pocket.
Yeah, she's not competing with nobody.
She's not
right
competing
now.
with nobody right now. I cut the other girl off.
Because there's less options, right, for men. And then the other reason why I think it's a little bit harder for men than women, and mind you, I'm not going to sit here and go, all the standards that men had for women were right and needed. I think some of them are just part of nature, I'm a damn good father, but I think there are certain things that come natural to women that I just, that I have to work harder to do, right? I have to work harder to be nurturing versus a woman, right?
Right.
So I think, that's a standard usually men look for in a woman. They look
Mm-hmm.
for a partner that's nurturing, right? But to get to my point, I think men are more willing to fit into the standards that women want.
Because they don't have a choice.
Not just because they don't have a choice, but because it's also the things that we want for ourselves as well, right? Men want, or women want, a man who's 6 foot, tall and above. Shit. I mean, I'm 6 foot, but I'm sure every man wishes he was 6 foot.
Right.
Right? Women want a man that makes 6 figures and drives a nice car. What man doesn't want to make 6 figures and, drive a nice car? Right? And I can go on and on and on. But the standards that men have for women and things that they want, men or women no longer want to fit into those things. Like literally, they're rebelling against all those things. And I don't think, like I said, I don't think all of them are wrong. I think a lot of them are just a part of nature. I think a lot of it is biology. There's a reason why women are attracted to men that look that way, because one of the main things that women want, they want security, right? A guy who's 6 foot can protect her. A guy who's, has some muscle on him isn't just nice to look at. Like that guy is going to walk into a room and no one's going to want to talk to you, right? Like when I go out in public with Jasmine, no one says nothing to her.
You have a mean-ass look on your face when you're just... The
Yeah,
mean-ass
because
look
ain't
on
no
your face
like
with
ain't
Jasmine,
no one
like
better
you're
say
a
nothing to her.
bodyguard.
You know what I'm saying? So
That's
like,
hilarious.
like we have an easier time fitting into those standards. We're not trying to rebel, with those things. Like we're trying to attract women, and I think oftentimes women want to attract men, but in a very minimal way, which usually comes down to their looks. And I think that's one of the hardest things of dating, of why relationships don't persist. It's because no one's working hard at it, no one's working hard on themselves, and everyone is only focusing on what's on the outside.
People think they're perfect. Yeah, you're exactly right. That's why relationships don't last long. That's why marriages don't last long. People do not want to put in the work. If you ask any older couple, what a key to their success is, it would be that they put work in it, didn't give up. But people just give up easy, and that's because of the options, unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah. And I have one more stat for you. So I'm sure a lot of...
Numbers, man.
I know. I like numbers. I'm a numbers guy.
Because it makes you feel like you're right.
No,
It's frustrating.
it doesn't. I just want people to wake up and stop blaming all of the issues on each other. I think everyone has stuff to work on.
Agreed.
Here's the stat, right? And women often say men are trash, and the reason why they are the way they are now is because they're tired of all men shit. Well, the prime years of dating are from 18 to 32. Okay? From the ages 18 to 29, 11% of women cheat. And this is a study. This is not just me just throwing this out here. This is not just one Google search.
Notice how he brought up the women first before
this
the
is
men.
multiple. This is
Not
multiple pages vetting this.
I'm
11%
just kidding.
of women cheat and 10% of men cheat. Right? So men aren't trash. Women aren't trash.
We all are
equally
trash.
do the fucking trash.
We all are trash.
So, gotta get rid of that excuse. Everyone, if you're looking for that long-term partner, you gotta do the work.
Guys, stop saying it's because, man, that girl crazy. Nah, that's not always true. It's not always true.
Oh my God, so many topics.
But also, the men are not always. They don't stop saying men ain't shit, because that ain't always true either. Let's just recognize differences.
Let's both not be shit together. How about that? We can both be not shit together. How about that? All right.
I've seen couples like that. They're crazy.
And they work too. They together for years. All right, we're gonna.
You knew I wasn't shit when you met me.
We're gonna end it on this last segment. I'm excited to do this with you because everyone really likes this segment here. But it's so funny looking on the internet or looking on Twitter for these truth or no's.
I love this segment. It's my favorite.
Was actually pretty easy. It was hard for one thing. Like it was hard to choose like some really good ones because there was a lot. Everyone has a take, And there's a couple different little categories with modern dating that we're going to touch on. All right. So here's the first one. Right. So men aren't trash. Women aren't trash.
We all are
equally
trash.
do the fucking trash.
We all are trash.
So, gotta get rid of that excuse. Everyone, if you're looking for that long term partner, you gotta do the work.
Guys, stop saying it's because, man, that girl crazy. Nah, that's not always true. It's not always true.
Oh my God, so many topics.
But also, the men are not always. They don't stop saying men ain't shit, because that ain't always true either. Let's just recognize differences.
Let's both not be shit together. How about that? We can both be not shit together. How about that? All right.
I've seen couples like that. They're crazy.
And they work too. They together for years. All right, we're gonna.
You knew I wasn't shit when you met me.
We're gonna end it on this last segment. I'm excited to do this with you because everyone really likes this segment here. But it's so funny looking on the internet or looking on Twitter for these truth or no's.
I love this segment. It's my favorite.
Was actually pretty easy. It was hard for one thing. Like, it was hard to choose like some really good ones because there was a lot. Everyone has a take, and there's a couple different little categories with modern dating that we're going to touch on. All right, so here's the first one. I don't care if you're legally an adult. A 20-year-old dating someone in their mid-30s is weird as fuck. Because they're incredibly different stages in life and generally will not have anything in common. The fact that that old-ass person is even pursuing someone that is young is a major red flag.
I don't agree. Someone who is younger could definitely have interests that could relate to someone. Like, they're more mature, so they can relate to someone who's on that level, or vice versa. Maybe that 30-year-old or 32-year-old, whatever that was, is not mature and on that level, and they're more towards the 20-year-old's level. I don't feel like it's a red flag.
No, I don't think so either. And I think once again, I think a lot of the things that we are attracted to as people just comes down naturally to biology, right? As a man, the things that we want from women, truthfully, is we want to make babies. In other words, we want to have sex, right? And we want her to look beautiful, right? So if I'm in my mid-30s, if I'm 35 years old and I'm single and I make a high six-figure income, I have tons of options, right? I can date whoever I want, and I'm usually going to pick the person who's going to best suit the things that I'm looking for, right? And if beauty is one of those things, let's just keep it real. It's called a spade a spade. A younger woman is probably going to look a little bit more beautiful than someone in their mid-30s at the same age as I am.
I'm going to go with I agree. Because from experience, I was 26 and I dated a 21-year-old, and it was a misfire on so many levels intellectually, and so like it was just like the values and the things that she was into and focused on and worried about. It wasn't there for me. I was on a higher level. I was thinking big picture, different stages of life. So I agree. I wasn't matching up on that emotional level, and that's really important to me in a relationship.
But I think that depends on who you're dating, though. That has, to me. So age, the one thing that age factors into, once like you said, different stages in life. Age also factors into experience. But people have different experiences.
Some people grow up faster, unfortunately.
Exactly. Someone might have a shit ton of experiences. Hell, there are business owners on social media platforms right now.
They're like 19.
They're like 19, 20.
And don't even have half the experience they have. Like,
exactly.
totally different.
Exactly. So
do you, wait.
So I'm going to say, nah, that's not
ask.
facts. That's not truth. But you're saying it's true, and then you're going with...
I go no, because my sister, so she's 2 years younger than I am. She's dated men who were in her 30s when she was in her early 20s.
Yeah.
They didn't work out, and they did have those issues. They've talked about like the different level, their different interests and stuff. But they broke up because he was just toxic. So that was a completely different reason.
It wasn't an age thing.
It wasn't an age thing.
So he wasn't toxic because of his age, but
he was just immature.
Yeah,
he was just immature, but he was immature because of... Wait, was he older or younger?
He was older.
Oh, okay. Whatever.
Yeah. So
not to get into that, but like regardless, I don't think it's a red flag. I think it can definitely work.
Yeah, me too. Okay. So second, truth or nah. Modern dating culture is all about being selfish for the most part. Don't go assuming that anyone you meet has a goal of being married. Ooh, that's
Can you repeat that?
okay. Modern dating culture is all about being selfish for the most part. Don't go assuming that anyone you meet has a goal of being married.
I'm a,
Okay.
I'm gonna go true because I don't want to assume anybody wants to get married because that's a discussion that needs to be had later on. I do know due to modern day dating or people's and then also the things that they go through in life, like let's say their parents' marriage didn't work out, they lose faith in all that.
Yep.
And so then now incorporate that into modern day dating. They're like, okay, well, I don't want to get married just to get a divorce and just so we. I said, well, you're already, and then I'm like, but you're already, people are already assuming that that's going to happen. They're writing their future before it even happens. But I'm like, that's not. Yeah, so I'm gonna go true because that is what happens in this day and age. Like people do assume that if they get married, they're just gonna get divorced, so they don't want to get married.
I think I kind of agree, but just for another reason. So I don't know if people are scared of. I mean, people are scared of divorce, but I don't think people are avoiding marriage just because of that. I think everyone's like in this stage right now, or in this mindset of living your best life, right? And a lot of times, what that looks like is traveling,
Single, party.
being single,
Travel,
partying,
yeah.
going out with whoever you want without having to check in with anybody. And granted, being married, it does take away a lot of that stuff. Like you can't just go out with whoever you want whenever you want. You do have a responsibility to check in, and you also you do have to feed your relationship. If you don't feed your relationship, it's going to burn out.
Sure.
So I think a lot of people aren't wanting to get married right now in the current stage that they are because they're out living their
Their
quote
best
unquote best life. The problem is that at some point, just actually kind of going back to that first tweet, right? At some point, you as a woman or as a male, you turn 30, 35 years old, and the things that were attractive to
Different.
to people that you were interested in, you don't even fit into that category anymore. And I speak mostly to women about this, right? Like you're living your best life. You're 32 years old. I'm sorry, sweetie, but you don't look the same as you did when you were 24, right? So now you're trying to date people who are 34, but they've leveled up in life and they're going after younger women. I say it's facts. I think it's true. This tweet, just because people are focused on the wrong things. And I think a lot of people are going to end up alone, unfortunately. I think a lot of people are going to, be in their 60s and not be married because they're focused on the wrong stuff.
They could be swingers.
Maybe.
I want to get a swinger on this show so bad. I want to interview them. Just I have questions for them.
Anybody who's swingers out there, hit us
Yeah.
up.
Okay.
Some questions.
I guess I still don't understand the tweet. I don't understand.
So what he's saying is that if you're dating, be prepared that the person that you're dating is selfish and that they don't want to be married. That the whole reason why they're dating you is for selfish desires. That part I disagree with.
I think that's
But
not
I think
true.
the second part is true. I think you shouldn't go into it expecting to get married because I think a lot of people now who are dating are not looking for marriage. They're just
I feel
looking
like
to
it's
have
selfish
fun.
to assume someone wants to get married. Not you don't want to get married for selfish reasons.
I think if you date someone, you should always have the intentions, unless you've said otherwise, you should have the intentions for it to go the long haul. Unless you've said otherwise. And that is something that happens. I've done it.
Yeah.
I've dated people and said, hey, look, like we're just doing this for fun. Like this is not anything serious. If it turns into something serious, great. But if it doesn't, no one's feelings are hurt because I told you what was going to happen in the first place. But I think if you're dating someone and you're not having that conversation, the goal is to put in the work.
I think putting the title marriage on it just gives me. Some people
It just depends on their view of marriage.
Some people want to be in a relationship for the long haul. They just don't want to be married. They don't
Yeah.
like that whole
That word scares people.
The word,
Yeah.
the ceremonial,
The legality of
any
it.
that.
I feel
Yeah,
like
the
it
legality,
scares
exactly.
men more. I feel like a lot of actually, you know what I feel like? I feel like a lot of men don't want to get married, and I feel like they conform and
Why is it men and not people?
Yeah.
women. Because women, when they're little, when they're 5 years old, they're dreaming
false.
of their weddings.
That's false.
I think a lot of men want to get
I
married.
run into a lot of women in the dating world that just right off the bat, I don't want to get married.
Yeah, I think a lot of men want to get married, Megan. I'm dead serious.
Not.
I know a lot of men that want to get married.
I have.
Every man I know right now that's my friend that we talk to, we all want to get married.
Marriage is like, okay, so marriage, like, no, I've never dated someone who's like, they want to get married.
Oh.
A lot of men don't want to get married. The ones that I've dated or talked to, they're just scared to get married. Okay. And I can't say anything as to my current relationship because we are still so new. But I'm talking about my past relationships.
In the comment section, I need to hear y'all opinion about that. So we'll see who shows up.
But I didn't get to finish what I was saying. As I think that men compromise and get married because they don't want to be alone and they know that's what women want. So they feel that need.
I disagree.
I want to find a fact.
I disagree. Hold on. I'm ready to go to war over this. It's not some men truly want to get married. We don't compromise.
Some, and that's fine. But
also
most
women.
But most men, and here's the thing.
I meet most women are outspoken about not wanting to get married a lot more than I meet men that are like, oh, nah, I'll marry her just because she wants to.
I feel like women have been turned to not want to get married. I feel like when they were younger, they wanted to get married, and because of dating experience, they're like, fuck this. I don't want this, but I feel like
11% of women cheat and 10% of men cheat.
That has nothing to do with getting married.
No, but you said dating experience. So we've all had the same dating experience. We've all been cheated on.
No, I'm not saying that.
So why would women change their mind about being married?
I'm saying some of the women that don't want to get married have been changed into that by being cheated on and stuff, or something horrible from their relationship.
Again,
hold on. Okay, you know what? I want to find a stat to see, and I'm gonna look this up. See who runs out of weddings more, women or men?
Oh, what? Okay.
Because that would make more sense. Because if it's more men, then they don't want to get married.
I watch so many sitcoms where it's the woman that runs out of that, like, nah.
But that's not real.
I know, but I'm saying most of the shows, hey.
But I feel like that would be they're making that a parody. Then they're doing it on. It's funny because
hey,
I say Google the statistic.
We'll check out. Yeah, we'll check out.
I guess the runaway bride is a common thing, but like I don't know.
Okay. Well, here's the next truth for now. Polygamy is not the solution for cheating. Please stop trying to convince people there'd be less cheating in a poly relationship. People cheat because they are shit people, not because of monogamy. So basically, what this person is saying is that people believe that polyamory is the solution to cheating. That if you're in a poly relationship, then there's no cheating involved and everyone's happy. And
that's false. I'm single. So I've actually dated 2 polyamorous girls. Okay. Both were, yeah. And there is an agreement between the husband and wife, the boyfriend and girlfriend that are in the polyamorous relationship that they know each person that the other person's talking to. So
in other words, there's still boundaries.
The boyfriend or the husband knew about me. There were rules to the dating. There were rules to like, hey, you can, you schedule the times that, you know what I'm saying, this is our night together. I understand if you have your date night with that dude over there, cool. And they know, they've like seen pictures of me too and all that crap. But it's a crazy world to be a part of. But I'm not a part of it. But I just I've dibble dabbled, yeah. And so, but there are rules. So you can't just be in a polyamorous, say, oh yeah, we're poly, and then go out and fuck anybody you want to.
Yeah.
You can't do that. That's not. There's a respect. There's a mutual respect and understanding in that relationship. Things are talked about. Rules are set. All that.
I think a lot of people go into polyamorous relationships thinking that that's what it is, and then they find out that you still have boundaries.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
And then, yeah.
So I agree. I think that polyamory is not the solution for cheating. People still cheat. If you break the boundaries, it's still cheating, whether it's in a poly relationship or it's
not a loophole, unfortunately.
No.
I agree. I do think poly relationships can work. Not all of them are formed because of cheating, which is kind of the vibe I'm getting from the text message, from the tweet. But I would have to say I agree with that. It's not the solution to cheating, but I do feel like they can work.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I don't don't know how qualified I am to speak on this, just because I've never been in one. To be honest with you, actually, I don't even know if I know anybody who's in one.
I've never dated anyone poly. I have no idea how that
Yeah,
works.
I'd love to talk to someone about it, just to interview them or whatever, just to
You see what their
what their
rules are.
thoughts are. Yeah, because I'm sure there's a lot more.
Oh my
to
gosh,
it,
I would love to see that.
But I think from just relationships in general, friendships, family relationships, all of them, there's always going to be boundaries. So why would a polyamorous relationship be any different from all those things?
More boundaries.
There still would be a
More
boundary.
rules.
Right.
Absolutely, especially if you're, if you are out sleeping with other people besides one partner, you want to make sure you're protected. Mm-hmm. You want to make sure that you put boundaries in place to protect yourself, but also your partner too.
Yeah.
Next truth or not. It sounds like we both all said it's facts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's fact.
Next one. Healthy dating is so hard when all you know is toxic.
Well, yeah, that's
That's
a given. You know what I'm saying? If
I
have to disagree on
I
that.
disagree.
I agree because I'll let y'all go first.
Well, okay.
No, you go. No, okay.
I disagree with that one only because if you know what toxic is, if you're able to point out what toxic is, then I think it makes it easier, right? Like if you're able to identify, hey, that trait that my ex did was toxic, or even, hey, a trait that I did was toxic. When you get into a healthy relationship, like you will be able to see the differences right away. And I think you'll be able to cope with those things. Like I think some people do go after toxicity because they like the adrenaline rush in it, and they like, the mystery and whatnot. But I don't think it makes it harder to date someone in a healthy relationship.
I'm gonna go with this way. Habits are addicting. So,
Good point.
So if somebody's habit, they're habitually they habitually are attracted to toxic people.
Yeah.
They're gonna be addicted to that. Like no matter what, they're gonna keep going back until they break that habit. You know what I'm saying? And habits are hard to break, but they can it can be done. So I'm not saying that they're definitively going to date just nothing but toxic people for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
I'm saying it's a possibility that they can get into a healthy relationship eventually, yes, and they can love that healthy relationship and flourish in it and thrive in it. However, it does take work, so it is hard to date for a while until they can
see the light, basically. Like we talked about in a previous episode, you were talking about like toxicity. You don't see it until you see the bigger picture. Mm-hmm. Like you can't, you have your blinders on until you get a real dose of what it's supposed to be like.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I changed my answer to this, so I say true. Yeah, that's a good point. Habits do die hard. So.
I feel like that's false.
Okay. So healthy is hard to do when all you've seen is toxic.
Oh my fucking god! Can you read that again, please?
Okay. So the tweet is, healthy dating is so hard when all you know is toxic.
That's true. That's yes and no. Yes, it is hard because you have to put in a lot of work, but it is possible. So I would say yes. My mom and dad both both of their parents. So my grandparents, I didn't know either of my very well. My grandpas, they weren't in my life. Very toxic. Both of my grandmas got left when they were pregnant, and so all they seen was toxic, and they have a very healthy relationship. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't healthy in the beginning, and they had to put a lot of work in. So yes. I agree with that.
Okay.
I thought it was worded a little bit differently, but I agree with that.
Okay. Well, it sounds like we pretty much agreed on all these together, whether it was disagree or agree with it. Besides the first one, I think.
The first one.
Yeah, but yeah, we're gonna go ahead and end it there, guys. What was the shout out the food place one more time, Megan?
Mixed Fixins. Dominique, we're gonna post her info so everyone can go order from her. Her food's amazing. She does other stuff. I don't know what else she makes, but I know that she has a pretty big menu of stuff. But the lumpia is still my favorite.
I'm definitely gonna
absolutely.
Give me some
and if you can, you probably can't see my plate, but my plate is empty. The lumpia was bomb. Yeah. I was eating it off camera and everything while y'all weren't looking, but no, definitely hit her up. We'd love to. To spread business to a lot of these smaller businesses to help them grow. So
it's a community. We have to work together. So I feel like that's good.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, thank you, Scooby.
Thank you for having me.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it.
It was
Yeah,
fun.
it was.
Yeah.
It was. This was real fun.
Absolutely, and I'm sure I probably did a lot of talking for the guy who hasn't done modern dating, but I definitely appreciate your insight
Of course.
and all that. But for everyone who's watching, if there was anything that you agree with, anything that you disagree with, please put it in the comment section below. You can message us even privately on Instagram or anything, or me. I'll give you permission to message me privately. I don't know about Megan or anything, but no, you can message me privately if you want. If there's anything that you want to debate about, whatever, or just something that you feel like we overlooked. We're always trying to improve here, and once again, we're not experts on any of this stuff. We're just sharing our perspectives and our opinions.
Anything that you guys think that we should talk about. Any topics that you guys would like to hear us talk about, or opinions, questions, those are always good too.
Absolutely. And we're almost at our goal of 50 subscribers. We've been doing this for less than a month, and we're super excited. So definitely subscribe. We're going to probably throw like a big party or something to celebrate that, and hopefully we can do it with all you
We'll do
guys.
some drinking games.
Our
We're on the
Make Me
Happy Hour
guys involved
podcast
with all
after
that.
all.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, so that way you know when we post. We post every Monday. Sometimes I end up posting on
Monday-ish.
Tuesday, just like we did this last week. But we all still have lives here. So thank you for watching. This was the Happy Hour podcast, and y'all have a good night.
Bye.
Bye bye.